Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Wow. Good morning. Hi, I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and I'm here to fight CPS and hang on to your children. Now, I've had to clean my computer, so my settings are kind of messed up. So hopefully, you heard Mr. Davis talk. At first, it didn't come on, and then I tried to put me on, and then it came on, his message. So hopefully, the kinks will get worked out. I'm so glad that you joined my live podcast. You found me on Facebook, and I'm broadcast on YouTube using the StreamYard application. Let me try to adjust myself here so that, there we go. That's better. So it's a warm welcome to all of you. All of you are like my family. I invite you all. I've been doing this now for over a year. I've talked to more than 600 people. I'm on here twice a day, and my podcasts are on every day from 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, there are some exceptions. Like on Saturday, I will try to come on at 8 o'clock instead of 10, so I don't interfere with Mr. Davis's podcast. His podcast is weekly at 9:30, as you heard. And it's a good podcast because he gives you valuable insights to how they handle your case, Now, on Sunday, I go to church, so I'm on at 8 o'clock in the morning. So those are two exceptions. And next Friday, this Saturday coming up, I'll be at the state football championships. My son's school, it's Friday Night Lights, and they're going for the national championship. So I want to leave at 4 o'clock and do my show at 3, but I haven't yet got approval yet. So it's a little bit of a drive to the state championships. Anyway, I'm glad you found me. I'm glad you're here. Now you're in the room where you can take notes or do emojis or check. If you want to follow me, please do. Or if you want to be notified when I'm live, please check that button too. Send some stars my way too. I appreciate that. Now I want to thank Mr. Davis, my attorney, for all he does. He does a lot of freebie time, and he really cares about you all. There's a number on my screen, which is the office of Vincent W. Davis Associates. It's 888-888-6582. It'll get you connected with the office. And if right now you have your mind made up, you want to retain Mr. Davis, that's where you'd call. Just make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And when you do talk to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. Now, there's other ways you can talk with Mr. Davis besides that show, and I'll be telling you that shortly. Now, you're probably wondering the definition of CPS. Now, CPS stands for what I call the Child Protection System. The Child Protection System, because every state will have a name. Every state will have a name. And I have... Oh, hi, Faye. So glad to hear from you. You said you tried the call. Let me go see what's wrong with my phone. It should be taking your call there. Let me see here. Savannah was the last one that called me on Vonage. You must have called me on my phone number here. Let me see here. Yeah, last time I think we talked, it was 4:30. But here, let me try to get you on, Faye. I put on the screen that when you want to do more than just be in the room, you want to text me a message, please do so. All I ask is that you put your comment. Hi, good morning, Faye. Just to check to see if my phone's working. I understand you tried to call me this morning.
Yeah, but it just went to voicemail.
Was that on Vonage or was that on my regular phone number?
I think the regular number. I didn't call the other number because I didn't know.
Yeah, it is okay. So, are you doing better? For all you listeners here, this is Faye from Richmond, Kentucky. Are you a little bit better?
No, not really.
Yeah, poor Faye's had this fever for a week, and she's really had. I said you've had your fever for a week.
Yeah, it's not gone. It's goes away for like an hour or two, comes back, goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back.
Yeah. Well, anyway, for all you listeners out here, Faye's been on my show off and on for a long time, for over 6 months, and she has really added a lot to the show. She's very articulate. She's a very intelligent woman and a very loving mother. She's raising a special needs child, a boy, who's in his 20, and it's a hard job. It's a hard job. She had another child that she lost through no fault of her own, her daughter of 8.5 weeks she lost. It was sad. And they went ahead and adopted her daughter for no reason, just because they wanted a child. See, that's the bad thing about CPS. They'll do things for no reason. They're very corrupt, and they will not treat you fairly or honestly. And, Faye's been through a lot. She was raised as a foster child, in and out 5 different times. She's been molested and raped and hurt and trafficking, and they tortured her to stand on sharp rocks as a punishment. That's how bad it is. So she's remarkable. She got a high school degree, and then she got a
nursing certificate.
A college degree, a nursing certificate. Yeah. And she worked as a nurse, very proud professions. And she did so until she was injured and she could work no more. Now, what would you like to do today?
Like maybe do horror questions or something.
Okay. Well,
if you're able.
Yeah, I am. I'm just right now, when I clean my computer finally, all the tabs I saved have to be reloaded. and I had to get my password to get on SteamYard. So that's the downside of trying to clean the computer.
Yeah. I get it.
I got all these tabs across that I'm loading right now as I speak here. One of them is Cora. I got to find that.
Well, we don't have that. Don't worry about it.
No, it is all right. It's all right.
I just thought it was something,
Yeah,
pretty simple to do.
it is a very simple to do.
He died last night from the chicken.
Huh?
He died with third blondie from the chicken last night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm broadcasting this from home right now. So when you text your message, make sure it's a question about CPS or a comment. Please put your first name, city or county, and state. And if you're from one of my other countries, which I have now 17 countries, please list your province and your county, your country, and also about your CPS case. Okay. Another thing you can do is you can schedule as a guest on my podcast. All you have to do is contact my show producer. Her name is Grace, and she's at grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she would gladly help you. Now, to schedule a time, it's an email. You just pick one of my 14 shows and send it off to Grace, and she'll take care of the rest. She'll give you the link, and you'll be able to get on, and she'll help you how to get on. The fourth way to interact with my podcast is to call into my show at 626-698-0990, and you can talk to it. Now, either talking to my show, either talking on the phone or being a guest will allow you a free 15-minute Zoom meeting with Mr. Davis. Have you had yours yet, Faye?
No.
Have they contacted you?
No.
Huh. Well, I submitted your name. You should have been contacted by now.
Not heard from me, buddy.
Really, Grace is supposed to send you an email about when she's got you set up. If you can hear me, Grace, could you check to see when Faye has her 15 minutes with Vincent Davis? Okay. So either by calling or being a guest, you get a free 15-minute session. Now, I have another way you can talk to Mr. Davis. It's for 30 minutes, and it's only $60. There's a ticket going across by my webpage. Just go to that link, and that way you can get it. Plus, you got the podcast that he's on. So there's lots of ways you can talk to Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis is that special attorney that's schooled in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law, all lumped together. That's what CPS uses, and that's the law you need. You don't need an attorney that's criminal, or you don't need an attorney that's immigration or real estate or whatever. So those are the 4 ways to be on my podcast. And now I think what we'll do here, we'll get Cora up here and see what things that we have here with Cora.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right, Faye. We had a special prayer for you last night that you get better.
I appreciate it. I'm really struggling.
Yeah, I know you are. She has a hard time breathing and she has so many hurts on her body. Well, I think I'm going to use my phone because my phone is better. I think my phone's better.
Stinking auctions in the 80s. Good grief.
Okay. This one's here is a question that will generate. Core is a application that has questions and answers. And whether you disagree or not disagree, but they do have everything there. So here's the question. If the baby daddy gets a paternity test done and proves he's the father and was not married to the mother at the time of birth, does that give him 50-50 custody? Well, that's a good question. The answer...
Depends on the state.
Yeah. The answer came from Eileen, who works for a roofing contractor. Okay. No, it gives him standing to petition a court for custody or visitation and to pay child support if he's a non-custodial parent. If something happens to the mother, then he also has the standing to take full custody of the child unless the court deems it's not in the child's best interest. Well, what do you think, Faye? Good answer?
That was correct.
Oh, all right. We got through that one now. This one here is a pretty lengthy one. The question is, how does a judge decide what is best for a child in a custody dispute? And determine what is best for a child or children in a custody case, a judge will look at many factors: age of the children, keeping siblings together, which parent can provide a stable and nurturing environment for the children, the relationship of the children with each parent, which parent can meet the child's medical, mental, and care needs, which parent has strong extended family support to help meet their needs, and each parent's background is mental stability and no criminal background, drug or alcohol abuse. I'm sure there may be other factors taken into consideration in order to determine which parent can provide not just financially for the children in an environment where he or she they will survive. Well, what do you think of that answer?
Sounded pretty spot on to me.
I agree. It did do that there. Okay, let's try another one here.
I will say that not all states are 50-50 custody states.
Oh, okay. Well, here's another question. Can CPS put me in a group home if I don't listen to my parents? I'm 15 and I don't agree with my parents, so I don't follow their stupid rules. CPS got called and mentioned to my parents that there are group homes for kids who don't listen. Well, this was the answer by Kinda Nice, who's exploring a new career path. You don't want to be in a group home. And yes, your parents can put you in one, but you definitely don't want to be there. I lived in a group home as a teen. I didn't have parents or parents that cared. Social workers don't give a damn about you. There.
No, that was pretty much the end was spot on that. And
Yeah.
the parents can put them in a group home for being an out of control teenager, and they can become a dependent of the state due to behavioral issues.
Yeah. If adults lay hands on you, the police will be involved. Refrigerators are locked, kitchens are locked, constant surveillance. You think your parents will suck? Try quiet time, a therapeutic hole. Try curfew. Try meals prepared by someone who doesn't care what you like. Try Christmas in a group home. Try your birthday in a group home. The most miserable promise to you. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. My advice is you're smarter the heck up. The alternative is not something you want to experience. Well,
True that too. But that's just the minor things that can happen to you in a group home. That didn't even touch on what actually goes on in group homes.
yeah.
They don't talk about you being new and getting beat up because you're new. They don't talk about staff treating you like crap because you're new. And don't talk about staff liking to have their way with you because you're new. And so many other things. And it goes on in the majority of the residential treatment facilities, group homes for wayward teens, and even in some of the juvenile detention centers.
Yeah.
Kentucky was being investigated for those things.
Well, really? Well.
Yeah, but nothing that I've seen came from it, though.
Okay. Let's go on to another one. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. Here's the question. Someone threatened to report me to CPS because she heard my child screaming. Screaming was just her trying to wait for it to load.
Somebody reported her to CPS because her child was screaming.
The screaming was just her having a temper tantrum. How to prevent her from making a report? This is what Mike said, a former operation and temperature manager for Safe Operations. You can't prevent her from making a report to CPS. You can do what I did. First of all, I popped my oldest daughter in a grocery store. Don't remember why now. Probably wanting candy, and told her no and mean it. She had no marks on her legs or butt. CPS showed about 3 hours later after arriving at home wanted to see our daughter, and I wouldn't let them see her, even with the sheriff's deputy there. I told them you have to get a warrant. They left, and I told my wife to take out 3 kids and go see their aunt and uncle and wait on my call. In our neighborhood, my next door neighbor was busy body wanting to know everybody's business, and no one on her street liked her. Her husband was cool. His dad was a fellow band director at a local high school that I knew, and his wife was a chord teacher at another school. Miss Busybody was a local pain. I just had a strong feeling it was her that either saw or heard me correcting and popping my daughter at the grocery store as she saw us when we left the store. I went up to the courthouse to see a high school friend of mine, inquired who turned me in. Of course, he told me. He couldn't tell me. I told him the situation. I just had my wife stay overnight because unless I knew for sure it was my next door neighbor, CPS wasn't looking. And I said, I'll be glad to them to look as long as I knew it. It was her. My friend from school knew I wasn't bluffing and told me it was her. So I went home, called my wife to tell them they could come back home when they wanted. And when they got there, CPS showed up. I told them I had proof it was my next door neighbor. And the reason I knew and told them they just wasted their and my time because of the situation. They looked at my daughter. CPS left. The deputy went next door and read Miss Busybody the riot act and told her the next time she would get arrested for whatever the charge. The deputy told me he didn't think she would make that mistake again or she'd be taking a trip to jail. That all said. Well, wow, what do you think about that?
People need to mind their business. That's what I think about that.
I agree.
And what he should do is go gather up all the names of all the kids that have died inside of the foster care system.
Yeah.
Because people couldn't keep their noses on their face, and show her all the dead children. You know, that CPS protects so well, and see if it changes your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to thank Lori Hiller, who is gives a thumbs up in her room. She comes ever so often, and I'm glad to see her back. Also, thank you, Rosemary Cates Robertson, for your thumbs up. I appreciate the people that are listening in this room. Now, one of the most important rules of mine is that you get yourself an attorney. And that's going to be the hardest thing you have because attorney takes money. Also, you need to find the right kind of attorney. What I mean by that is attorney that has fought CPS and that is trained in dependency law, family law, and juvenile law. And that attorney really should be a fighter of CPS. An easy way to find that out when you're hiring an attorney is to ask two questions. The first question is, are you a dependency family juvenile attorney and have fought CPS and won and got the children back? And then two, have you ever sued CPS and filed a lawsuit and won it? If the answer is yes to both those questions, that's the attorney you want. You want a fighter who will not only fight for your children right, but will help you out with a lawsuit. That means that is good. And Vince Davis is one of those attorneys. So it's really important you ask those questions.
Also, when you're looking for an attorney, you need to go on the bar site and you need to look up the attorney's name and see if he's had any complaints or reprimands.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm glad you suggested that.
Or license suspensions or revocations or anything like that. Because a lot of times they do, and they start right back up, and then, you don't know unless you go look, and it'll tell you what they were for. Like if they got a mark against them for being, ineffective assistance of counsel or whatever. It'll tell you what it was for.
Yeah.
It's a good idea to always look at that when you're looking for an attorney.
Now, I will say one thing. There's something called a court-appointed attorney or public defender. You want to stay away from them because they really won't help you out. And once you have an attorney representing you, you can't talk to the judge. You're very limited in court. In California, in Orange County, I was allowed to be in the courtroom when a case is being held, which I think is really wrong. I think that's really wrong. You know, the idea about using a court-appointed attorney is going to save you bucks, but they usually only have experience in criminal law, and they are not fighters. They want to end the case fast, and they have maybe 30 or more clients at one time, so they're really busy. They really won't have time to meet with you or fight with you. So I strongly recommend that you get a real attorney somehow. I had to sell my home. That's an awful thing to do, is get rid of your home like that. But you need an attorney to fight your case. A pit bull of attorney. Okay. Somehow my picture's stuck. I don't know why it's stuck, but it's stuck. I have the blue circle going on there. Let me see if I can get another one here. Okay. Now this question is, hello, Medina. Welcome. Well, if DCF is coming to your home or CPS, don't answer the door. Don't answer the door. You don't want them to take away your children. Okay, the question is, if a custody order says mother and child are not allowed to leave the state, is there any chance the court will allow them to go on vacation to another country if the father says no? Well, here's an answer by Chris, a divorced dad with primary custody. When my ex and I were getting divorced, She violated a similar order. In her case, she intended it to be permanent, but the principle is the same. After I filed for divorce, she informed me that she was taking her children to where she lived, 2.5 hours away in a neighborhood state or hometown where her mother and her high school boyfriend, affair partner, still lived. She intended to enroll them in school. They had already started school here. I told her verbally by letter, as well as on every other form of communication we had, that I objected and she wanted to relocate with her kids. She should file for it in answer to my divorce filing. Well, let the judge decide and not start a tug of war with her kids. She informed me that she's the mom, and a couple days later pulled her kids out of school, informing me after she got home. I filed an emergency petition to get the kids back. Ended up with temporary custody, and she got a lecture and an every other weekend visit. She was unable ever to recover and basically temp because of permanent. All that it has to say is get the father's written permission or a court order. If you can't get one or the other, you can go as you please, but you can't take the kids. What do you think about that, Faye? What do you think about that, Faye?
I'm here.
What did you think about that?
Some of it I heard, some of it I didn't hear.
Oh, okay. I think when I close my window to you, I hope that you hear me, but
Huh?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little hard to hear sometimes, but yeah.
Okay. Well, this was the question. If a custody order says mother and child are not allowed to leave the state, is there is there a chance the court will allow them to go on vacation to another country? The father says no. And Chris Johnson, divorced dad, answered, when my ex and I were getting divorced, she violated a similar order in her case. She intended to be permanent, but the principle is the same. After I filed for the divorce, she informed me that she was taking her children to where she lived, 2.5 hours away, in neighborhood state in her hometown where her mother and her high school boyfriend, affair partner, still lived. She intended to enroll them in school there. They had already started school here. I told her verbally by letter, as well as every other form of communication we had, that I objected, and she wanted to relocate with her kids. She should file for it in answer to my divorce filings. We let a judge decide and not start a tug of war with her kids. She informed me that she's the mom, and a couple days later pulled her kids out of school and informed me after she got home. I filed an emergency petition to get the kids back, ended up with temporary custody, and she got a lecture every other week in visitations, and they were able to recover, and basically temporary became permanent. All I have to say is get the father's written permission or a court order. If you can't get one or the other, you can go as you please, but you can't take your kids. Well, what do you think, Faye?
I don't think, if the father had the majority of custody, then the mom really didn't have a right to do that.
Agreed.
And probably if there's a custody arrangement through the court for a parenting time, and she went against that, then she could be possibly held in contempt of court.
Wow. Yeah.
And in some states, if you take the children into another state from the state you live, and you're gone for more than 48 hours and you didn't have permission to do it, they'll charge you with kidnapping.
Wow.
And where she enrolled them in school there, that will also give them intent to believe that she was preparing to do just that.
Yeah.
or just kidnap the kids. So, yeah, I don't agree with what she did.
You see what else I got here. We have someone who came in the room called Medina who's been here before, and she's saying that CPS is coming to my home today. Well, don't answer the door if CPS comes.
Record.
Yeah, record everything.
And if you can have somebody there with you as a witness, do that.
Yeah, Faye says make sure you have someone there as a witness. That's really important.
And record.
And record all that takes place there.
And try not to answer her questions in any length or great detail. Try to keep it just very simple and yes or no's.
Yeah, definitely yes or no answers. But
because the more you say, the more she'll twist.
Okay, here's another one from Cora. What happens if a foster child has such horrible behavior issues the state cannot find a foster family willing to accept them for very long? Well, the answer... Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead and read it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Carol, who's a former English teacher of Detroit Public Schools, said, these kids get sent to group homes where, in the case of the 17-year-old, we look out of one cost, the state spends $80,000 a year per child for a really horrible place. This boy had a dangerous form of diabetes, and the food did not cater to his needs. The place was a zoo. He had been adopted before he was 18 and really tried hard. We cooked special foods. We're hospital trained in diabetes and enrolled the family in therapy, especially designed for foster adopt kids. We attended all the school meetings, welcomed his new friends, and made friends with the parents of those friends. Unfortunately, his previous life did not translate well to family life, as he grew up with no structure or dysfunctional. He learned quickly in special education classes, but resisted regular attendance and attention. Let me see here. Where is it? Who welcomed his new friends and made friends with the parents of those friends. Unfortunately, his previous life did not translate well to family life, as he grew up with no structured, only a dysfunctional. He learned quickly in special education classes, but resisted regular attendance. On occasion, I had to rush him to the emergency room to save his life because he had alcohol with his friends. Eventually, he told us that he couldn't be adopted as his father in prison told him he no longer loved him if he got himself adopted. We had a long talk about adults blaming children, as I wanted to know if he got himself born addicted to crack. Had he gotten himself homeless, and had he got himself into foster care as a small child? What I did do is talk the agency and releasing him to his sister who was beginning to get her life together, helping her financially. see here. She was the only family he would listen to. I often wonder if he's still alive. I apologize and forgiven. He only do what he learned. What we did love him. Well, what do you think about that answer? Faye, what do you think about that answer?
I don't really know, to be honest, about that one.
Yeah. Well, Medina has said something here. She's the one that's got CPS coming today to her home. I find it funny that I just had 2 cases closed and unfounded and expunged, and the same day a new case for the same allegations. This case was pending since September. Oh, this is terrible, Medina. Medina further says, I wasn't aware of this new case until October when they went to the children's school. Wow. Okay. Medina says, I wasn't aware of this new case until October when they went to the children's school. Wow. Medina further says she's scared and also she's tired. I know how you feel, Medina. Faye and I send our blessings out to you. Don't be too scared. Keep God in your heart. You'll work through this. Think of your children. Think of the love for your children. And you work through it step by step, inch by inch. So Medina really has a tough case, and I want to help you, Medina. Right now, we have about 15 minutes left of the podcast. Oh, correction, we have 5 minutes left of the podcast. Yeah, it's 10:54. I thought it was 10:44, but it's 10:54. So our podcast ends at 11 o'clock. So right now, Faye and I have been talking about Cora's Digest. And we briefly touched about the rules, which I'll go ahead and give them out to you. I'll get them done in a couple minutes. Besides rule number 1, get an attorney. Rule number 2 is collect all your documents together. Have that notebook and have your stuff formatted on the right workers. Well, on the right there. You're going to find that CPS is not transparent. But anyway, keep all your documents. One of the most important documents is your incident time log. It's your log of your incidents. Try to be complete with them. The first line is the date, time, and the location, who you talked to. The second line would be a description in 1 sentence of what the incident was about. And the third thing would be whether it's been whether it's been returned or not there. Okay. Now, I want to thank everybody that has been in this room and trying to help your case. Medina, don't give up. Don't answer the door. Keep fighting for your children, everyone. And thank you, Faye, for being a guest on my podcast and help me with Core's digest here. Now, there will be a brief message from Vincent Davis when I sign off. But thank you for coming to my podcast. Keep fighting for your children. I'll see you tonight at 10 p.m. At 7 p.m., which is 10 p.m. on the East Coast. So at 7 p.m. tonight, Pacific Standard Time, I'll be on my podcast live again. God bless y'all. And this is Faye and Bob signing off.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.